Room 442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. That's a win. Bittersweet are the emotions following today's UEFA Champions League draw because it's the last Champions League draw of its type we'll see maybe ever as they expand next season and go to the Swiss method. If Sarah could care to describe to us what the Swiss method is.
Yeah, please do.
In sports. Draws? No? Don't worry, no one else can either. But it's all changing next year, which means no more group phase draw per se, Bertie, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, no groups. It sucks.
Some great memories, I think. And even today, it's always exciting seeing a good old-fashioned Champions League draw, isn't it?
It can be boring. It can be. But it was pretty exciting.
All the nonsense beforehand is pretty boring, but you get right to it, and you have some really, really compelling groups for this upcoming season, which kicks off later in September. Group A, let's start there, shall we? It's a good place to start, I think. Group A sees Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray. Harry Kane back to England already.
There you go.
To the team that we all thought he'd join about this time last year. But that's an intriguing group, but clearly two frontrunners, you think?
Yeah, United, I mean, we're not too big on United. I think they're an underwhelming side, at least to start the season. But if they get healthy, I mean, they should have really no issues in that group. It should be Bayern and Manchester United through.
Yeah.
I mean, Galatasaray will be a difficult side. They're really good at home, but they've never really posed a threat in the Champions League.
Bayern Munich, though, the early frontrunners, Sarah.
I mean, I think so. With Harry Kane now at the front, they'll be getting those goals that they were lacking last year, maybe struggling a bit for. And, Manchester United haven't really got into a rhythm yet. Several injuries as well. We heard about Varane this week. That's massive for them. So he'll likely be out for the first couple group stage matches, I figure. But, I think this is Bayern's group. No disrespect to Copenhagen or Galatasaray, but we're talking about two clubs at a completely different tier.
And, of course, Alphonso Davies, back in the Champions League once again, as he does every single year. One of 3 Canadians to be in this year's Champions League. Group B now sees Sevilla, the Europa League champions, up against Arsenal, PSV, and Lens. Big season for Arsenal in Europe this year.
Yeah,
they've made movement now in the Premier League. They're going to contend there once again, but they need to get some big-time noise, I think, in European football now.
This is a tough group. It really is. Sevilla, Europa League champions, obviously, once again. PSV beat Arsenal in the Europa League last year, so they're not going to be any pushover. And Lens finished second.
This is the first time they're in the
French
Champions League
This
as
is
well.
a really
Incredible.
sneaky, difficult group for Arsenal.
First time in the Champions League, though, for Lens.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen with
they
that,
should.
right?
Arsenal
Point to
should
prove.
win the group. They should win the group, but I don't think it's going to be as straightforward.
I don't know. I mean, with Sevilla as well, like they love tournament style football, don't they? So I wouldn't sleep on them either. It should be an Arsenal Sevilla, but as you said, PSV beating Arsenal last. You don't know. This one looks like a lot of fun though to me.
Sevilla's going to drop down to the Europa League
And then win it.
win it.
Yeah, sure.
That's what's going to happen. We all know that, right?
I know.
Okay. Group C now. Napoli, Real Madrid,
Nice.
Braga, and Union Berlin enjoying their first foray into the Champions League after an incredible last year in the Bundesliga. But your Italian champions up against Real Madrid. That's big time magical European night football, isn't it?
I thought I was getting on the Napoli bandwagon last season when I wanted them to win the Scudetto, but oh my God, Napoli beat Real Madrid. Victor Osimhen, I'm behind this team. I love that. That's a great clash, though, I think, because they're both such attacking sides, very exciting sides. Real Madrid also dealing with the several injuries as well. No Courtois. Vinicius Jr., excuse me. Also, there's so many. I hope it would be exciting. I think those two will still go through, but it would be exciting if Napoli finished top of that group. Make it interesting for Real Madrid.
I don't know what to expect from Braga and Union Berlin. Both had really good seasons last year. Berlin were top of the Bundesliga for a little bit too as well, right? Before they gave it up to Bayern Munich, and Dortmund came down to the last day. But not straightforward as well, but it should be Napoli and Real Madrid.
Speaking of last day, Benfica won in Portugal on the final day of the season last year. In Group D, they find themselves against Inter Milan, Salzburg, and Real Sociedad.
This is a great group.
This might be the most open of groups because, listen, Inter are going to be your favourites. Benfica obviously have pedigree, but you don't rule out those other two teams. This could be wide open.
Yeah, Benfica was fantastic last season in the Champions League and in the Portuguese League, and yet Inter went almost all the way, or almost got it done, right?
They met in the quarterfinals.
That's right. So in this group to go through, it should be one of those two sides. The expectations, I think, from Salzburg and Sociedad aren't very high.
I mean, I don't know. Sociedad's one of the best teams in Spain. Takefusa Kubo, Oyarzabal, Kieran Tierney is now there. Like, I think this could be. I
he
think,
went there.
yeah, this to me, I think, yeah, like James said, might be the most open group, and it might be the most fun group to watch as a neutral. Because I think any of these teams can go through, maybe with a little bit more respect to Inter Milan. But honestly, I think I love this group. This is going to be so much fun.
Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid, Lazio, and Alistair Johnston and
Yes.
Celtic, who snuck in there, of course, once again. Haven't made noise in Europe for some time, of course. Again, pretty wide open group, this one. Atletico, you would think, though, the favourites to advance.
I think so. Lazio's been miserable starting their season. I think they have 3 losses so far. It's not been great. Alistair Johnson, Celtic, I mean...
It's just great to see more Canadians playing.
Sure.
in football,
It's
right? What an
exciting. It's
experience for him.
exciting. It's exciting. But this one, I think this might be on it. I feel horrible saying this, but I'm not looking forward to this group that much. I think we're going to see a lot of draws. This has draws written all over it to me in these matches.
Doesn't stand out, does it, this group?
No.
You know, it's not too sexy, put it that way. Group F is full of sex appeal. This is, if there's a group of death,
Yeah, this is
this is it. This is just incredible. PSG, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle back in the top 5 European competition. We spoke about it while watching the draw. 3 iconic stadiums. You know, if you want to travel with your team and you're in this group, you're happy because, man, that is going to be fun. I don't know. My gut tells me this could be AC Milan's year.
I
in Europe.
have that feeling as
They're
well.
a really good side. Had a
Yeah.
bit of a poor year last year compared to the title-winning campaign in Italy, of course. But they're full of pedigree, and this could be an opportunity.
Really quickly, early predictions. Who's going through in this group?
I can't. You can't discount PSG because of Mbappe. They're a different side, a younger side.
If he stays
a
there
lot
all
of
year.
pace. If he stays there the whole time, so I can't see anyone past PSG and probably Milan. I know. And listen, Dortmund, excellent team. Lost Jude Bellingham, which is a huge loss. Newcastle, you don't know what to expect, but at home should be stellar. But you can say the same thing for Milan at San Siro, Dortmund at Siglo Iduna, and PSG in Paris, right? But Milan, I'm with you. For some reason, they have the type of team and they play the type of style. And I said this last season too, to win this type of tournament. Because they can sit back, they can defend extremely well, and they got incredible pace. Rafael Leao, I think, is ready for another breakout season in the Champions League. I would watch out for Milan.
That's so funny. I have Milan as one of my top teams to watch in the UCL. They semi-finalists last year. You're adding Christian Pulisic into a side with Leao, Theo Hernandez, Olivier Giroud somehow will continue to score for the rest of his life. It's
Don't forget about Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Ruben
Don't
Loftus-
forget,
Under
listen,
the radar
underrated
transfer.
player, absolutely
Very good.
right. Lost in the being overshadowed by the Pulisic signing, who's
He's been good,
brilliant,
yeah.
by the way, to start the campaign. So yeah, that's the group for me to watch out of all these groups. Group G sees the defending champions Man City up against Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys of Bern. If you're City, you're really happy with
You're
this draw.
having a laugh is what you're doing. Like, this is so ridiculous. This used to be the Real Madrid, I feel. They would always get put with these, lower level teams maybe. And now City, like, what is this group for them?
They should cruise this group pretty
They
easily,
should,
right?
yeah,
Well, they kind of
like-
always get the easy group. But they didn't last season. Last season was Sevilla, Dortmund.
And it was Copenhagen.
It was Copenhagen. So a pretty tough group. So they got a softball here in this
Yeah,
group.
this is something else, man. But yeah, it should be Man City and RB Leipzig going through in that one.
Yep, Young Boys at the Wankdorf, always a softball, that's for sure. Group H sees Barcelona. Yeah, what are you laughing at? Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Royal. And what's so funny, Sarah?
just something in my throat.
Is it okay? Royal Antwerp. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Barcelona, I think, are pretty content with that one
Hey,
as well.
do you know what? Like, with the last 2 seasons of Barcelona, I don't take anything for granted here. Listen, they have to go through. They have something to prove, maybe more so than any other team in the Champions League. Porto, as we know, went on a run last year. So, all right, I can't be with.
Oh, boy. Barcelona's going to get through this group.
What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going Royal Antwerp is my
Because of the
team.
worst.
Oh, yeah.
Spurs
They
aren't in
team.
it, so I got to go Antwerp. Yeah, listen, Toby Alderweireld, former Spurs center back,
Yes.
won the league with them last
Yep.
season. Let's go Antwerp.
Okay, there you have it. But I think it would be Barca and Porto myself. But Donetsk playing in Hamburg Stadium, right, for this one? Okay,
they
well,
are.
there you have it. That's the Champions League draw for this season. We'll get deeper dives, I think, between now and kickoff later in September.
God.
Room 442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. That's a win.